On a motion to participate. This is a TFF case. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. I believe Mr. Ingram's with us by phone this morning. Mr. Taylor is with us representing the mother, Ms. Campbell, who is with us today. So I think she must be trying to connect to the audio. So we'll give that a second. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to inquire with Mr. Taylor if there's any possible agreement before we get started calling witnesses.
I think it's quite possible if I could have a brief breakout with
Breakout room. Okay. All right. I'll put you in. Mr. Taylor, I know you're not feeling well this morning. Thank you for showing up.
Yes, thank you, Elder. Yes, Your Honor, I have visited with Ms. Campbell. I do believe that she understands and she is agreeable to an agreed order requiring that she work the service plan.
Okay. Just for the record, what I show from the pleadings was they're asking her to participate in the intensive family-centered treatment, individual counseling, rational behavior training, and just random drug tests. Ms. Gutierrez, that's what the pleadings, is that what the department's asking for?
Yes, Your Honor, we're actually asking to incorporate that service plan filed on August 2nd of 2023 into the order. So the service plan that Ms. Campbell signed would be the services she has ordered.
Okay. All right. All right, then, Mr. Campbell, that's your client's agreement, correct? Mr. Campbell? I'm Mr. Taylor, I'm sorry. Is that Ms. Campbell's agreement?
Yeah, that is, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement? You're muted if you're on the phone, Mr. Ingram.
Yes, sir, I am in agreement.
Okay. All right, then. Then I will approve that agreement, and I will order that Ms. Campbell participate in the services. And Ms. Gutierrez, is this what you had marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 2, the family agreement plan?
No, Your Honor, that's actually the plan that the family came together, similar to our safety plan.
Okay.
Because we have an agreement, I'm not offering the exhibits, but the family plan was filed on August 2nd of 2023. I asked the court to take judicial notice.
Okay. Okay, then I will order Ms. Campbell to participate in the services set out in the service plan that was filed August 2nd, 2023. Do we want a compliance hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
How far out would you like that?
Megan, how far out do you want your compliance hearing?
Let's do, excuse me, 45 to 60 days, Your Honor, please.
Okay. I have then, I don't have an August date. I've got September 18th, but if that's too far out, then I can get you one. Haley can get it on sooner.
The 18th works of September, sir. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, then I'll set the compliance for September 18th, 2023. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings, so parties can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of September 18th to see exactly what time that we will have. Ms. Schulte is with us for the department. Casa is with us. Ms. Archer is with us representing the child. Mr. Adams is with us representing the father, Mr. Mesa. Mr. Adams, I don't see him. He's not in the waiting room. Were you expecting him?
Your Honor, I don't know. I was unable to get a hold of him.
Okay. All right. And the mother, Kaylee Patterson, is not in the waiting room. She's attended some hearings and not others in the waiting room. So, Ms. Schulte, you may proceed.
I'd call Paula Mears. Ms. Mears, are you the permanency specialist for the case?
I am.
Where is Indigo placed?
Sorry.
Where is Indigo placed?
Indigo is placed with the maternal grandmother, Shelley Patterson, and the maternal grandfather, Greg Patterson.
Does that placement continue to be safe and appropriate for her?
There is some questions about the safety of the placement right now due to Kaylee's erratic behavior.
What has happened since the last hearing that is of concern?
Kaylee has actually gone to placement on July 24th. She went into the home uninvited, started a verbal altercation with Shelley Patterson in the presence of Indigo, refused to leave. Eventually she did leave right before law enforcement got there. They had called me, Kaylee had called me while there at the home. And so I called law enforcement, Hereford PD, to go and check. And Kaylee had left right before law enforcement got there.
Was there an incident during the investigation in which Kaylee was arrested and criminally trespassed from the home?
Yes, immediately after the removal occurred, Kaylee went to the Patterson home around 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, was being very aggressive, demanding the child, throwing items at the windows. The law enforcement was called by the Pattersons, and she was arrested and a criminal trespass was put in place.
Are the Pattersons doing what they can to be protective of Indigo?
Yes, as of now, it seems to be they are.
Are they actually seeking a protective order through the Duff Smith District Attorney's Office?
Yes, they are.
Kaylee. At this point, does Indigo's continued placement there, is that in her best interest?
At this point, yes.
If there continues to be problems and disruptions, might that change?
Yes.
Have you had, let me phrase it this way. Have you tried to talk to Kaylee Patterson?
Yes, actually, that was who was calling right now. She has been yelling at me and screaming at me since 8:30 this morning. She's very erratic.
Have you had a lot of difficulty in effectively communicating with her?
Yes, absolutely.
Have there been times that you've talked to her that it seems like she's under the influence?
Yes, just about every time I've talked to her.
Does she seem like she's under the influence this morning?
Absolutely.
Has she had any visitation with Indigo?
She had a visitation she had a visit on July 7th while I was there visiting the Patterson home, and I invited Kaylee to come to sit and visit as well. Since then, she has not had any visitation. She missed the following week of the 7th, July 7th. She missed the following week. And since then, her behavior has become very unstable.
Do you think that at this point, her having visitation, even supervised by St. Francis, would put Indigo at risk?
Absolutely.
Are you asking that her visits be suspended until she engages in services and can provide a negative UA drug screen?
Yes.
Did you complete a service plan for Kaylee Patterson?
I did.
What services are we asking her to complete?
An OSAR assessment, drug and alcohol testing and treatment, to follow whatever recommendations the OSAR finds. Counseling, psychosocial, parenting, batterers intervention. And I can't think of the other ones right off the top of my head.
The usual suspects maintain contact with you, safe and appropriate housing, transportation, employment.
Yes, right now she's not employed. She does not have a home of her own. So all of that would need to be rectified.
Have you had an opportunity to review that service plan with her?
No, I have not.
Are you asking that the court approve that service plan and make it an order of the court?
Yes, please.
Have you created a service plan for Samuel Meza?
I have.
What services are you asking him to complete?
Basically the same OSAR assessment, drug and alcohol testing and treatment as recommended by the OSAR, parenting classes, stay in contact with the worker, with me, show that he has, is financially stable, housing, income, things like that.
Psychosocial, parenting classes, counseling.
Yes.
But you are not asking him to complete BIP, correct?
Correct.
Have you had an opportunity to review this service plan with Mr. Meza?
No, I have not.
Have you been in contact with him since the adversary hearing?
No, the number that I had was incorrect in impact, but I have gotten with CASA, and I've got another telephone number and his email address. I've also spoken with his attorney, Larry. So,
Do you know if he has had any virtual or been able to come down for in-person visitation with Indigo yet?
He has not, but I've been working with the maternal grandmother, Shelley Patterson, and Shelley has been in contact with the maternal grandmother, or paternal grandmother, sorry. They are planning, the paternal grandmother and Samuel are reportedly planning to come down on Labor Day weekend. And so we are scheduling a visit for them that weekend.
Are you asking the court to approve his service plan and make it an order of the court?
Yes, please.
Are you asking that the department be continued as Indigo's temporary managing conservator?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Adams, questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Archer, questions?
I have no questions.
All right. All right, Ms. Schulte, any other witnesses?
No additional witnesses, Judge.
All right. I've been told all along quite a while that the BIP program is only for men, not for women. Is that correct or incorrect?
I believe that they have opened it to women as well, but I will double check that, sir.
Okay. Yeah, if you would, and if someone would let me know, because
Judge, the BIP program is for men. There's a companion program called WAVE that's for
Wave.
women.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought. Okay. So
Sorry, sir.
okay, then all right, Ms. Archer, recommendations?
Yes, I believe that visitation with mom should cease until we at least have some clean drug screens. I do believe that her the current placement of Indigo is safe and appropriate. I think the maternal grandma is doing all she can to keep the baby safe.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And Casa, anything Casa needs to add?
We just also recommend drug screens before any visitations till then, and to stay at current placement with the grandparents.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then based on what I've heard today, then I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the current placement. I'll order the services for each parent as contained in their service plan. And I'm just going to order that there be no contact between the mother and the child, or mother and the placement, the grandparents, until further court order. I'm not sure a clean drug screen is going to be enough to get her under control. So we'll just say no contact until further court order, and she can show us that she's going to be able to control herself. So,
Thank
all
you,
right.
sir.
I'll set the next hearing, the initial permanency hearing, for December 8th, 2023. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of that date to see what time. Ms. Schulte is with us for the department. Casa is with us. Mr. Pirtle is with us representing the child. Mr. White Wolf, the alleged father. I know we're doing paternity testing. I'll get to that in a minute. Mr. White Wolf is with us. Ms. Sarmiento, the mother, is not with us, nor is her attorney, Mr. Barfield. I have Tamara Ring and a Rachel Palmer in the waiting room. Do we need either of those in?
Tamara is the worker.
All right. I made announcements on who's present. And also, I've just let Rachel Palmer in. I've been advised that she is with the Wichita tribe. So I'll give it just a couple of minutes more to see if we can't find Mr. Barfield. We've got other cases today, so I'm going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and proceed in the Sarmiento case without the mother, Miss Sarmiento, or her attorney, Mr. Barfield. All right. No one else is left in the waiting room. So, Ms. Schulte, you may proceed.
I'd call Tamara Ring.
Okay.
Where is she currently placed?
She is currently placed with her maternal great-grandmother.
How is she doing there?
She's doing great there.
Are all of her physical and medical needs being met?
Yes, all her needs are being met. She's bonded very well.
Do we have any medical concerns with her?
No.
Is she attending daycare, receiving any other special services?
No, not at this time.
What is the permanency goal for this case?
The permanency goal for this case is relative adoption concurrent with family reunification.
Is that permanency goal in Adalia's best interest at this time?
Yes, it is.
Have you had contact with Adalia's mother, Heaven Sarmiento?
No, I have not had contact with her recently.
Did you create a service plan for her?
Yes, I did.
At this point, has she engaged in any services?
No, she has not.
Is she aware of her service plan?
I believe so, yes. I've told her about it.
Is she, to your knowledge, still in the Duff Smith County Jail?
No, she is not. She bonded out and we haven't been able to reach her since.
Do you know when she bonded out?
I believe it was July 21st, somewhere in that area.
And do you know what she was in custody for?
She was arrested in Bell County, Texas for prostitution. And then she was picked up, I believe, or she was transferred to Duff Smith on a warrant. I'm not 100% sure what the warrant was for.
Were you able to meet with her while she was in the jail?
No, by the time I made it to the jail, she had bonded out, and she ran, and I know she ran from the bonds lady.
So is it possible that her bond is going to be pulled because of that?
Yes.
So basically, she was bonded out and ran before she could pay the bondsman?
Yes.
Do you have any information as to where she's living right now?
I do not. The bondsman reported that they transported her to Amarillo and she took off from there.
Do you know whether she has any form of legal employment?
I do not.
Has she ever drug tested for us?
No.
And has she initiated anything else on her service plan?
No, she has not.
Has she had any contact with Adalia since the case began?
No.
If she were to reach out to St. Francis, would she have the ability to have visits?
We would request that she drug screen and start services.
Do you know whether placement has had any contact with her?
Placement reports they have not had any contact with her.
And do they have your information to pass on to her if she were to reach out?
Yes, they do.
Is there anything else you think the court needs to know today about mom or her situation?
No.
Regarding Mr. White Wolf, Adalia's alleged father, has genetic testing been set up for him?
He missed 2 appointments, but we do have another appointment set up for him on August 17th, and he's agreed to go.
And is he aware of where he needs to go for that?
Yes, he is.
Has he indicated to you a willingness to participate in services?
Yes.
Have you created a service plan for him?
Yes, I have.
And have you talked to him about that plan?
Yes.
Are you asking that he attend individual counseling?
Yes.
Complete a drug and alcohol assessment and follow any recommendations?
Yes.
Complete random drug testing as requested?
Yes.
Participate in a psychosocial assessment and follow any recommendations?
Yes.
Stay in contact with you?
Yes.
Locate and maintain safe and stable housing?
Yes.
Do you know where he's currently living?
He's currently living with his mother, but he has plans to get his own place.
Is he asked to locate and maintain employment?
Yes.
Are you aware of whether or not he's currently working?
He is currently working. I haven't requested pay stubs yet to verify where he's working at.
Are you asking that he complete rational behavior training?
Yes.
And stay in contact with you?
Yes.
Has he initiated any of those services at this time?
Not at this time. He's waiting to establish paternity. I know he is doing classes for probation, and so I told him he could provide me with any certificates of stuff he's completed for them.
Do you know what he is on probation for?
I do not off the top of my head.
At this time, would it be contrary to Adalia's welfare to be placed with her mother?
Yes.
And does her mother's conduct create a continuing danger to Adalia?
Yes.
Are you asking that the court approve her current placement and continue the department as her temporary managing conservator?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Mr. Pirtle, do you have any questions?
No questions.
All right. Mr. White Wolf, if you'd unmute. Mr. White Wolf, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, sir.
Okay. Before I forget, Mr. White Wolf, I need to admonish you, just so you'll know. I've heard testimony that you missed your paternity test twice. I need to admonish you that if you don't go through with that, the court can still find that you are the father, even though you didn't do it. And I'd rather know for sure rather than have to use that part of the law. So don't miss another appointment for your paternity test. All right, then. Anyone else have further questions for this witness?
No.
All right. Ms. Schulte, any other witnesses?
I briefly called Evan White Wolf.
Okay, and I forgot. Ms. Palmer, if you'd unmute. Ms. Palmer, did you have any questions you wanted to ask Ms. Ring?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you aware of when you are scheduled for paternity testing and where you're supposed to go?
Yes.
Are you willing to complete services if you are found to be Adalia's father?
Yes.
Are you an enrolled member of any tribe?
Yes.
What tribe?
The Apache tribe.
Any other tribes?
No, just that's the only tribe I'm enrolled in.
Where are you currently working?
At McDonald's.
And are you living with your mother?
Yes, right now, yeah.
Are you currently on probation?
Yes.
What are you on probation for?
For DUI. And I'm doing they got me doing a drug court program.
How are you doing with that program?
I'm doing good. Right now, there's 5 phases, and I'm in phase 2 right now. And each phase is 3 months, and the last phase will be 6 months.
Do you have any other children?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How many?
I have a stepson and one more daughter. And the stepson, he stays with me.
How old is he?
He's 6 years old.
Does his mother also live with you?
Yes.
What is her name?
Taylor.
And is Taylor also supportive of you working services in an attempt to get custody of Adalia?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. White Wolf, I'm looking back from the time this case started. I've read that you were a member of the Wichita tribe. Is that part of the Apache tribe?
No, they're a different tribe here in Anadarko.
Okay. I guess that's something we need to explore. We may have the wrong tribe involved in this case. Maybe Ms. Palmer will know something about that. Mr. Pirtle, do you have questions for Mr. White Wolf?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Palmer, did you have anything you wanted to ask Mr. White Wolf?
No, I'm sorry, I do not.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Schulte, any other witnesses?
No, Judge. I have no other witnesses. I would clarify, I believe that Ms. Sarmiento is enrolled in the Wichita tribe.
Oh.
It was also my understanding at the beginning of the case that Mr. White Wolf was as well. And I've since learned that's not the case, but the Wichita tribe is involved through mom's side.
Okay, I understand now. So I guess if the paternity test comes back and Mr. White Wolf is in fact the biological father, then we'll have to get the Apache tribe notified.
Yes.
Okay, that clears that up for me. Thank you. All right, then, Mr. Pirtle, did you have any other witnesses?
No witnesses, Judge.
All right. Mr. White Wolf, did you have any witnesses or did you want to give any further testimony?
No, sir. Not at the time. No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Pirtle, recommendations?
Your Honor, I believe that the child's in a safe and stable environment. I believe the child should stay where the child's at and not be returned to the mother at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And Casa, did you have anything to add?
We just recommend Adalia staying at current placement.
Okay. All right. Give me, Ms. Palmer, is there anything you wanted to add today?
No, there's not.
Okay. Thank you. All right, then. I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Adalia's current placement. I'll order there be no visitation between Ms. Sarmiento and the child until further court order. All right, we will have our next hearing in this case, a permanency hearing on December 1st, 2023. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to see exactly what time that hearing will take place. The child. The mother, Miss Harvey, is not with us. So that's everyone. I have a Summer Daniels in the waiting room. Is she attached to this case?
She is, Your Honor. She's the St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist that I'll be calling as witness.
All right, let me get her in. Okay, Miss Daniels is with us now. There's no one left in the waiting room. This case was set for 10:40. It's now 10:43. We will proceed in the mother, Miss Harvey's absence. So, Mr. Audi, you may proceed.
Thank you. I would call Miss Summer Daniels. He is currently placed where?
He is in the St. Francis RTC in Lubbock.
And is that placement meeting all of his needs at this time?
Yes, they are.
How long has he been in that particular placement now?
He has been there since April 11th.
And do you feel like he's adjusted to that placement?
I do.
Is he doing well in that placement?
He is. He's getting counseling.
Is he still exhibiting some of the behaviors which were the reasons for the removal in the first place?
Yes, he is.
So there's still a need for him to be in counseling and be in a structured environment such as the RTC in Lubbock?
Yes, there is.
Are there any special issues or special needs with John that we need to make the court aware of today?
Not at this time.
His mother is Kendra Harvey.
Yes.
And she was ordered to work some services to be prepared if John gets to a point where he is ready to come home.
Yes.
Is she cooperating with St. Francis and the department in working those services?
Yes, she is.
Any concerns that you have with the services that she's working and complying with?
No, not at this time.
Would you agree with me, though, that due to John's behaviors, that it would still be unsafe for him to be returned home to Miss Harvey?
Yes.
And it would be against the general welfare of John to be returned home today?
Yes.
Are you therefore asking that the court continue the temporary managing conservatorship of John at this time and that we leave placement at his current RTC?
Yes.
You believe all that's in his best interest?
I do.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Daniels, is John on any psychotropic meds?
He is.
Do you know how many?
He's on one.
Okay, and that's for depression?
Yes, and like a mood stabilizer. His last med review is July.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that he might be entering the St. Francis, it's QRTP program. Can you explain what that is? I'm not familiar with it.
So yes. It is he'll be in the same placement. It's just another program that is more structured. It's going to give him more treatment options, availability, those things. So just more intense treatment for him.
Okay, but that's offered through the same St. Francis RTC?
Yes, sir. It will not be a change of placements.
Okay, all right. And then I had one other question that I read in one of the reports that the therapist thinks possibly part of John's problem is he suffered abuse at the hands of Mr. Harvey, his stepfather. In the home? Do you know anything about that?
I know of it. I did not have those concerns. John has spoken about that, but he has also gone back on that as well.
So he's kind of waffled and recanted that no.
Yes.
No.
It depends on what mood he's in and what he wants out of the
Okay.
case. Mhm.
Okay, I got you. All right then, Mr. Albee, did you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. We
All
rest.
right, thank you. Mr. Adams, did you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams, recommendation?
Just continue temporary managing conservatorship with the department and continue placement as is.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Talley, CASA have anything to add?
Nothing additional, Your Honor.
Okay, all right then, I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue John's current placement. I'll set the next review hearing for December 1st, 2023. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to see exactly what time that hearing will take. Ms. Lucero is with us representing the father, Mr. Persley, who is with us. Ms. Grant is with us representing the mother, Miss Persley, who is with us. Mr. Michelson, the attorney for the children, is not with us. We've not been able to locate him, so we're going to go ahead and get started without him. This case was set for 11:20. It's now 11:31. So, Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Judge, before we present any evidence, if you would allow me to talk with Miss Lucero, Miss Grant in the breakout room. I'm not sure exactly where I'm at, but I might be able to get this thing solved.
Where are we at?
All right, Judge. I think that we have an agreement that the parties will begin working services. Specifically, Ms. Persley is going to need to do an OSAR evaluation and take whatever steps she needs to take, and that would include counseling and or possibly AANA in the parenting class that's outlined in the petition. Mr. Persley will also be required to work services based upon what's outlined in the petition, Your Honor. However, we've agreed that if at all possible, those services will be online. His job takes him away from home and out of an area where he can have in-person services on a regular basis. We will also agree, Your Honor, that the children go home to mom under the condition that if there is any alcohol found in the home or that Ms. Persley's using any alcohol at all, that we will immediately remove the children. She's been cooperating with the department. She understands she has an alcohol problem at this point in time. So we're trying to work with her to try to get that resolved.
All right, so the children will be returned. Are the parents together?
My understanding is they are, Your Honor. The children have been in a fictive kin home under a PCSP, which is a parent agreement that they would be placed in outside the home, and we're willing to let those children go home today under the circumstances that there's no alcohol in that home and no alcohol being used.
Okay. So basically, is there anything as far as services for either parent? I know Mr. Persley's will be online if possible. Is there anything in addition that's not in your petition?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So basically, basically the order could say that the parents will participate in the services as set out in the petition, and that if at all possible, any of Mr. Persley's can be done online.
Correct.
All right.
Your Honor, there was one question that Ms. Persley had asked that's not necessarily in the petition, but should the OSAR recommend further treatment for alcohol, it would be very difficult for me to put her in an inpatient program because Mr. Persley works far away, and she would be requesting outpatient if possible, if the OSAR recommends. But that's just a caveat that I just wanted the court to be aware of.
Okay, well, let's not get the cart before the horse. We'll wait and see what the OSAR says and deal with it then. So. All right, then, Ms. Grant, with what you've just added, is that your client's agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. And also, we were going to report to the court that my client will be using an ignition interlock device.
Okay. All right then, Ms. Lucero, is this your client's agreement?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we never heard from Mr. Michelson, so I don't know what his, whether he'd be in agreement or not. I suspect he would be, so. All right then.
Hey, Judge,
Yes,
I have Jay Michelson on the phone. Would it be okay if he said something through my screen? On the phone through speaker?
well, you can just, if you can just get it close enough for, is he on your cell phone or the phone in the office?
My cell phone on speaker.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
if you put it on speaker, I mean, we can hear him through you, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, just get where he can hear me and I'll tell him what the agreement is.
He heard the agreement, I think. So go ahead, Jay.
I heard the court's resuscitation and Todd Alvey's and Stacy's agreement, and I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right then. Thank you. Then based on the agreement, I will follow that agreement. I will order both parents to complete the services contained in the petition, with the exception of Mr. Persley. Any services that he can perform online, he will be allowed to do so. In addition to what's contained in the petition, I will order that the children be returned to the parents, with the caveat that if there be no alcohol in the house or any use of alcohol, Persley, and if there is proof of that, then the children will be removed immediately. We're here on permanency review. Appreciate y'all working that out. I think that will conclude this hearing. Mr. Albie's with us for the department. Ms. Ledbetter's with us for CASA. Mr. Barfield is with us representing the father, Mr. Henry. Mr. Barfield, are you expecting your client?
We, he's in TDC, so we sent information to TDC to see he would join on a teleconference.
Okay.
I was thinking that was arranged like last time.
Okay, I've got a telephone line. Let's get that in and see if that's him.
Hello? Pick up the phone. Hello? Yes, sir?
Hello?
Hello?
This is Judge Graham. Is this Mr. Henry on the phone line?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So Mr. Henry is with us, and Mr. Turner is with us representing the child. That accounts for all party. I'm just announcing, sir. That accounts for all the, excuse me, don't interrupt me, please. All right, that accounts for all the parties. I don't have anyone else in the waiting room, so Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Miss Tamara Ranger is currently placed where?
She's placed in a foster home in Amarillo.
And is that placement meeting all of her needs at this time?
Yes, they are.
Any special issues or special needs with Audra that we need to make the court aware of today?
No needs.
Are all of her mental, physical, and emotional needs being met, including any appointments for counseling? And well, she wouldn't have any counselor, but any doctors or dentist appointments she needs to make?
Yes, and I would like to mention they are doing family therapy with her due to her reactive attachment disorder.
Child's mother's had her parental rights terminated. Child's father is Mr. Douglas Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Henry is currently incarcerated in TDC.
Yes.
He has been incarcerated for at least since we determined that he was the father to this child.
Yes.
Do you have a release date for Mr. Henry at this time?
Not at this time. He's currently in the parole review process.
Any services that he has been able to complete or work while he's incarcerated at this time?
I don't know if he's completed any. I spoke with the chaplain there. He said they have a long list of services they can offer their inmates, and but he's not able to release the information to me. And so he was going to talk with Mr. Henry and see what they could engage him in and what he could send me.
But right now, you don't show that he's completed any services that he's
not at this time. No.
All right. And because he's incarcerated, it would not be safe to return Audra to him at this time.
That is correct.
And in fact, Audra wouldn't recognize him at this point, even if he was out of jail.
Right. Correct. That's correct.
All right. And so it would be against Audra's general welfare to return her to her father at this time.
That's correct.
Are you asking then that the department be continued as permanent managing conservator of Audra, and we continue the current placement?
Yes.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Barfield?
I have no questions of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Turner?
Ms. Ring, developmentally, is Audra progressing normally, or are there any concerns that the department or any of our doctors have as far as her developmental progress?
Developmentally, she's on target. She did not qualify for ECI services when she changed placements. And so at this time, I mean, she's right where she should. Developmentally is right where she should be.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Ms. Ring?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Alvey, any other witnesses today?
No, Your Honor. Can I recall, Ms. Ring? There's a couple other questions I need to ask. Okay. Ms. Ring, Audra's placement has requested that they be allowed to take Audra on a vacation or a trip to Wales. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are you asking the court to allow them to take Audra out of the country at this time?
Yes.
That would just be a short trip. It's not like anything permanent. They're anticipating coming back after their visits.
Yes, that's correct. They would like to take her to Wells the beginning of January to see one of the foster dad's family. They would be gone about 2 weeks, and then they would return because he has to go back to work. And so we would need approval to get her passport and to allow her to go.
All right. That was the next question, is you would ask the court to order that the department be allowed to apply for passport for Audra.
Yes.
Are there any other issues with that trip that we need to ask the court to make orders for today?
I do not believe so.
Thank you. I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. Mr. Barfield, did you have any witnesses?
I'm just going to try to clarify what services, if any, Mr. Henry's been working, just kind of maybe get some clarification from the court, if I may.
So you want to call your witness? I mean, you want to call
I guess that's what you're asking. Yes, Your Honor. I would like to do that.
Mr. Barfield.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, what services have you been able to work while you've been incarcerated?
While I've been incarcerated, I have done my Bridges to Life. It's a program that helps victims reestablish with the people of crime or whatever. I've got my certificates. I've got them all laid out over here. I've done my Bridges to Life. I'm a constant member of NA and AA. I go to church every Sunday. I have no cases. I don't get in no trouble here. I am a S2 trustee. And
let me ask you a question, because we kind of have to do this quick. Would you do me a favor, or yourself a favor, and give the chaplain permission to speak with Ms. Ring and provide a copy, at least, of those certificates to the to Ms. Ring, so that we can get that to the court's knowledge? Can you do that for me?
Yes, sir. He just talked to me day before yesterday, and I think that was whenever she had called, and he called me in. I got my whatever he copied off of the machine, off of the computer here. It's got my classes that I've been involved in. It's got everything that's needed to. Some of them are completed, some of them aren't, because they're long. They're like year long, but I am constantly in it, and I'm also going to college.
Okay. Let me ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
When are you? We heard some testimony. You're up for parole review.
Yes, sir. I'm under review right now.
Do you know how long that process will approximately take? I know you don't know the exact day. How long do you think that process is going to take?
Well, my date says that October something. I think it's the 4th, October 4th, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
So is it a possible?
Y'all don't talk over each other.
I'm trying, Judge. Is it a possibility that you could be released as soon as October?
It is a possibility, yes.
Okay. Well, I think would you please, as you complete courses, get that to the department?
Yes, sir. I sure will.
Okay. Your Honor, that's all the questions that I have.
All right, Mr. Albee, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Turner, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Ring, if you'd unmute, I had one question, a clarification, really.
Yes, sir.
You talked about Audra doing family therapy. Is that with the foster parents?
Yes. The foster parents, if it comes to it, would like to adopt Audra. And so they're doing therapy with her to work on the attachment disorder.
Okay, that's what I assumed, but I just wanted to clarify that. So, okay. All right, then. Mr. Turner, any recommendations?
Your Honor would recommend that the department be maintained as the permanent managing conservator, that Audra's placement be continued, and that the court enter any orders required or requested by the department to allow the foster family to take their vacation with Audra.
Okay. All right. Ms. Ledbetter, Cost have anything to add?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. We agree with that.
Okay. All right, then I will continue the department's permanent managing conservator. I'll continue Mr. Turner, I'm sorry, Mr. Henry as permanent possessory conservator. The previously ordered child support orders will stay in effect that obviously don't go into effect till he's released. And I'll order that Audra be allowed to travel with her foster parents to Wales. And I will order the department to attempt to obtain a passport for Audra, as well as to obtain any needed immunizations she would need to go overseas. So, okay, we'll set the next review hearing for January 26th, 2024. As far as I know, that'll be by Zoom, just like today's hearing. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance to see what time that hearing will take place.